Good afternoon, everyone. I think that we can start already. It's 4:30 sharp, so we can start. Thank you so much, everyone, for having the time to attend this upcoming panel. My name is Fernando Romero. I'm working with CTPTO at the IDC Capacity Building and Training section. And I'm going to be coordinating this panel, Ke06, Geography, Gender, Generations, how NDCs shape the world today and tomorrow. So the objective of this panel is to create an open space for discussion and for awareness raising by identifying common challenges that NDCs around the world face, especially those related to generational gaps, geographical disparities in terms of access to training or resources, and also gender imbalances. So on this note, I would like first to welcome to the stage our friend and colleague, Mrs. Magdalene Guañaga, our keynote speaker. Welcome to the stage, please. Thank you. So, just a few words about Mrs. Magdalene Guañaga, or Maggie, as we all know her. So she's an earth scientist, seismologist, and independent consultant whose work bridges geoscience, peace, and policy. And she has worked with the Kenya National Data Center on CBT verification, also briefed the UN Security Council, and continues to champion youth, inclusion, and science diplomacy in advancing nuclear non-proliferation. So thank you very much, Maggie, for being here today. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Fernando. So, okay. That's not working. So it's such an honor today to be here, delivering a keynote on bridging worlds, building futures, and the evolving role of national data centers in the present day. And it's not only a subject that is professional to me, but it's deeply personal. And we shall reflect together on my journey as a young scientist, growing through the NDC, showing the nexus between the IMS, IDC, and the OSI, and how NDCs can be a bridge to empowering the next generation. So at the heart of NDCs is the technology, people, and policy. So they transcend the traditional infrastructure boundaries, and they are hubs for data analysis, and not just when we look at it, we could see infrastructure, the servers, the good-looking things, but at the heart of it are the people who analyze this data. And all this at the National Data Center is where the innovation thrives, but also there's mentorship and inclusion that can be nurtured. When I think about the Kenya National Data Center, I don't just see software or seismic data, for that matter. I see mentors who welcomed me through the colleagues who taught me, and the community that gave me the space to grow, which is what we want to see at the heart of an NDC. So, my story. So, it begins during my undergraduate years, about 10 years ago, at the University of Nairobi, where I was introduced to a small, close-knit group of scientists who were engaged in the CTBT verification. There, I was intrigued on the treaty and how it blends the science, security, and diplomacy in a way that I never thought or considered. And that moment of introduction sparked my curiosity and set me on a path that has defined my career and what is today. And not long after I joined the Kenya National Data Center as an intern. And at the time, it was very unusual for young people to join this space. It was for I'm told not to say older, but the more experienced people. But it was a pivotal moment for me, and there is where I started my training in seismic data analysis, basically. And there I used NDC in a box, so GeoTool and SysComp3, and that is how, and all the data and simulations inside the NDC in a box, knowing how to do the P waves arrival peaks, the S waves arrival peaks. It was just like my growth. It's what shaped who I am today, especially in data analysis. And it was also my doorway into a world much bigger than I had imagined. So we're going to look now at the IMS. And in my earliest and most memorable moments were visiting the 2 IMS stations in Kenya. So we have a primary seismic and an infrasound station. And there I began to understand how local monitoring systems are not just isolated, but connected and part of a seamless global network. And knowing that waveform data recorded in Kenya does not just stay in Kenya, like in most traditional seismic or stations where we have to go and get the data after like 6 months. This was phenomenal. And knowing that it comes all the way to Vienna, it was really intriguing for me. And it becomes the data that is of a stream that supports an international treaty ensuring global security that has a sense, we are connected as a world, and it's in something that is much, much bigger than ourselves, much, much bigger than even our own states, and to the collective goal of achieving nuclear non-proliferation and the end of nuclear weapon testing. So through these visits, I learned how seismic data is collected, transmitted, and how the quality is also ensured. It was very technical, but also very empowering, because I could see how the national contributions of Kenya as a country fit into a much larger verification framework. It showed me that even as a student or a young intern at the time, the work that we were doing locally had an impact at the global level. And it's been one of the most inspiring lessons about the NDCs. And it can offer opportunities and mentorship to young people. I'm going to repeat this mentorship and opportunities a lot. So looking at the IDCs, at the NDC, so there I began training with the raw seismic data, learning how to transform this waveform to meaningful and actionable intelligence, and using NDC in a box and other IDC tools in waveform analysis. As a young scientist, I felt like it's, uncovering the hidden stories in the data and bringing that show us what is happening beneath the earth. And I love seismology for this because it's waves and they tell you so many things. And each wave is a piece, or was a piece, and still is a piece to a bigger puzzle. My growth continued, where I began taking courses through the IDC Knowledge Portal and also participating in in-person and online courses. And these trainings bridged a geographical boundary, because coming from the global south, it's not easy to get such quality trainings, and having this at the world-class level, it's really good. And this kind of access is what makes the CTBT community unique, and it equalizes opportunity, empowers scientists everywhere to contribute. And then this is the fun part, the OSI. So this was a real turning point in my journey when I joined the linear training program in 2023 for on-site inspections. And it was not just another course, the introductory course. It was personal transformation, not just for me, but for most of the participants we were with. And at the training, I experienced firsthand what it means to be part of an international team, learned a lot of the technical aspects of inspection science, but also the professionalism and trust and cooperation that being in such a team requires. And for me, this moment, my journey shifted, actually. And I realized that it's no longer just about the scientists analyzing data, but it's being part of a bigger system where the science and leadership promotes, and leadership gets together with diplomacy. Okay. So the nexus of the verification. Just before we get here, so for the training, for the OSI, we understand about the training of, we're trained to be inspectors. At the IDC, there's the data from the IMS stations that is processed, and the IMS system collects all this data that is quite important. So all of these divisions, let me call them that, should not be silos, but are converging at the NDC level. And then together, they form a comprehensive verification regime. And for that, and for me, the Kenyan NDC was the place where I first saw this integration, from having the IMS stations to getting the trainings by the IDC department, and then finally joining the OSI inspection training. It connected me to all these pillars and showed me how verification science is a living system and not just technical. So the NDCs are preparation centers, and as we approach the 30th anniversary of the CTBT, I believe they've evolved to something even more critical. They are preparation centers for the future. They are where experienced scientists pass down their expertise. They are where mentorship ensures that knowledge just doesn't stay in one generation, and where tomorrow's leaders are nurtured. For me, mentorship has been a constant thread, and from my university to the colleagues at the Kenya National Data Center to the trainers at the IDC, OSI, each step of my journey has been shaped by those who invested in me. And I believe this is the true power of NDCs. They are places where knowledge is not just preserved, but shared, multiplied, and passed on. So you can see there, I tried to keep with the theme of the conference today, tomorrow, and together. In terms of science diplomacy and diplomacy, this is another important lesson that I learned, where the CTBT is not just technical, but it also has the diplomacy aspect. And at first, when I came to the CTBTO, I was purely a scientist. I could not, in my very first conference, S&T conference in 2017, I could not understand the diplomacy side. We know just to say facts and state them as they are, but there's a way that you have to take care of the words, what you use and how you say it even. So over the years, I've come to understand the importance of that, and especially science communication, because data alone does not change the world. What changes the world is how we communicate this data, how we translate technical findings into insights that decision makers can act upon. This is why NDCs are so important. They just don't produce science. They produce scientists who bridge the worlds, scientists who can understand technical rigor, but also diplomatic and communicative skills that are needed for the global security. So in this part, I believe that most of us who came through the NDC route, this is where we first got to understand really, it's not just about collecting, for example, seismic data and processing the data. this data is being used for something much bigger, like I said before, and also the diplomacy aspect of it. So finally, it's going to be a short one. My call to action. As I close, what I'd like to put across is that we should continue to invest in human-centered NDCs, which the people are at the heart of the NDCs alongside the technology. Also ensure global representation by empowering participation across genders, region, and generations. And also let us promote mentorship and intergenerational knowledge transfer so that the experience is not lost but carried forward. And let us build a community that reflects the world we are working so hard to protect. For me, it began as a young, curious woman at the Kenyan NDC, pushing them a little bit harder than I should have, but yes. And today, I stand here as living proof that it can happen where opportunity, mentorship, and commitment come together. And if we want the CTBTO, the treaty to hold its integrity for the next 30 years and beyond, we must ensure that tomorrow's leaders, including today's leaders, understand the past and navigate the present and can shape the future. Together, through human-centered verification science, we can protect tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Maggie, thank you so much, really, for sharing your personal experiences, your impressive career, and how you see that importance of NDCs and how they've been evolving, again, based on your personal and professional experience. So thank you so much, really. Now we're going to open the floor for any questions. I forgot to mention earlier, thank you very much also the online audience. And if there's any questions also from online participants, please go ahead and we can read them out. Or if there's any questions from the audience, from the floor, please go ahead. You can go to the microphone and just ask your question, please, for Maggie. No questions from online participants, no questions from the floor. Okay, so then, thank you very much again, Maggie. Please, big applause for Maggie. Thank you so much. And we are going to wait for a few more minutes, and 5 p.m. we will start with the panel discussion, okay? Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks.